Watercress. Watercress had strayed far from the crusade party in his search for a few herbs that grew solely in the white dogwood forest. One such plant was king's crown, a sedative with peculiar proteins. While reviewing his old memories of queen's lace from the mage's college, Watercress recalled its poison structure. Watercress suspected that the king's crown herb might have the potential to react with the queen's lace poisons to become an inert chemical within the body, possibly neutralizing the ingested poison's effects. It was a hunch, but he figured it was worth examining. A burning scent wafted toward him and gave him pause as he was about to pluck another spiny stalk of king's crown. The smoke of the Crusade's campfires shouldn't have drifted quite this far. An uneasy feeling sprouted in his gut. He shoved his collected herbs into his robe's deep interior pockets and rushed back toward the Crusade, and halted at the forest's edge. He was too late. With care, he took in every observation to store in his memory for an in-depth review later. Horrifying, discolored corpses littered the ground in a large radius away from the core group. Clearly those around the perimeter had been unsuccessful in outrunning their fate. "Basil! Where's Basil?" A small unit of soldiers was separating and collecting the cerebral portions of corpses. From what he assumed, they were Vahantry and had killed everyone. Did Basil escape? As Watercress was about to silence the brains of the remaining Vahantry members, an army of silver imperial soldiers appeared and rushed those left standing. The sensation of dysgeusia overwhelmed Watercress. Once the episode ended, he made a mental note to reflect on where he had previously experienced the taste he kept hallucinating. As if some of the Vahantry had expected the Imperial army, they were already on the run. Imperial guards slew few and took even fewer prisoners. During the distraction, Watercress salvaged the spell tomes from the fire and Boss New's destroyed cart. Between the plethora of corpses, new ghosts, and blazing pyres, it was difficult to see what was occurring, and Watercress had to remind himself that just because he couldn't see the living didn't mean that they couldn't see him. He had no desire to be found by either the Vahantry or the Imperial soldiers until he discerned the truth. Through the sound of the shrieking newborn ghosts, Watercress doubted he would learn anything useful. He hoped that Basil had made it safely away with the others as per their orders. At least Basil and Crusade should have resisted the poison. As quickly as they had come, the Imperial soldiers faded from view. He must have been hallucinating. There was no way they could have mobilized so quickly. Perhaps the ghost had distorted his vision worse than expected. But if what he had just witnessed was a large-scale apparition, Watercress had to consider that Coserai might have had a hand in it. He didn't believe she did, but he couldn't rule it out either. Only once the skirmish had settled down, and the only remaining beings were dead, did Watercress seek out intelligible ghosts. He received a few unique perspectives, then synthesized the similar details into a coherent story. The whole circumstance was circumspect. Yet Watercress was less suspicious about the Vahantry's mass homicide than he was about the Imperial army's abrupt appearance and disappearance. He hadn't thought he could mistrust the High King any more, but after the display of force, he did. There is no way that the Imperial army could have heard about the attack and arrived when I hadn't even known. And what timing they had to chase off the Vahantry after everyone had been slaughtered. Watercress wanted to proceed onward to the Oracle to meet up with Basil and provide him further protection against foul-hearted mages and the Archspawn of old. However, he also wanted to expose the evil that dwelled within the impenetrable castle. Watercress was at a crossroads. He could either protect mortal lives by turning south, or immortal souls by continuing north. He had faith in Basil, and it was time to let his apprentice experience true freedom. Perhaps they would meet again in Vetron, perhaps somewhere else. But what Watercress could do now was learn the underlying truths of Coserai, sway the opinions of the powerful, rally support, and influence change if necessary. As much as he had been dreading this day's arrival, it was an astonishingly simple decision for Watercress to let his apprentice go.